what a demonstration of the weakness of Obama's leadership. That's what we'll talk about today. The Middle East and the whole Muslim world is up in flames by the light of the burned American flags. Probably if you added up the foreign aid that all these countries get from the United States, it would be in the neighborhood of about $15 billion a year. And it's earned us their everlasting hatred. And actually more, it'd be about 20 because it includes Pakistan. And we've earned their everlasting hatred. The display that's going on of invading the American embassy, brushing past unarmed guards, Americans who were not permitted to have bullets in their guns, Marines, and going after the ambassador, killing him, killing other Americans with him, and now demonstrating in front of embassies nonstop throughout the world. You're seeing the products of the weakness of Barack Obama. It's just like the hostage crisis for Jimmy Carter. These folks are in these other countries, these radical Islamist Muslims, are not fair people. You can't go out to them and extend an olive branch and expect them to take it. They believe that they are the soldiers of the true God, bringing about the true transformation of the world, that infidels ought to be killed if they don't forcibly convert. And if you show them strength, they'll leave you alone. If you come on weak, they'll take advantage of you every time. And don't believe that this was somehow or other created by some stupid movie that some pastor in Florida made. These were long planned for September 11th to create a week or 2 or 3 weeks of rage in the Islamic community. And they'll use any pretext they can get their hands on. But it's the fundamental weakness of the Obama administration and the fundamental flaw of his whole concept of coming on in appeasement and reconciliation and affection to the Muslim world, as opposed to strength and firmness and justice. And the parallel is so amazing. Our other best ally in the Middle East was Iran, and Carter let that regime be toppled, and then he had the Ayatollah, and then his re-election was crippled when the Ayatollah took the embassy as a hostage. And here our other ally in the Middle East was Egypt. Obama sat by and let them be toppled. The Muslim extremists took over, and now they're invading our embassy again, demonstrating once again the weakness of the American president who let them have their way in the first place. And it's not as if we had no leverage in Egypt. We have $1.3 billion a year of foreign aid and a tremendous relationship with the Egyptian military. But Obama has just literally and figuratively taken the bullets out of their guns, and they can't control it, and the extremists are just moving ahead. Now, what will the impact on the election be? I think it'll be very profound. Foreign policy acts as a metaphor for the personality of the president. You watch a person's foreign policy, and it tells you what their personality is like. Because foreign policy is directly run by the president. Domestic policy and tax policy goes through Congress and the courts and a whole lot of stuff. But foreign policy is directly the statement of the president. So with Bush, you had a very strong, very moralistic guy, and he had a very strong, perhaps too strong foreign policy, leading to the war in Iraq and the backlash against that. With Bill Clinton, you had a relativist, a guy who could be strong, could be weak, looked at each situation on the merits, and some called for strength and some not. And the world didn't test him after he bombed Bosnia. They learned that there was a spine of steel there, but not the overt bullying strength, but just a quiet strength. Now in Obama, you see just a total cream puff, absolutely weak, unwilling to use force, unwilling to stand up for American values, unwilling to articulate the difference, really, between right and wrong, blaming a stupid filmmaker in Florida for the failures of his own foreign policy. And this is going to leave a strong impression with the American voter that will go far beyond the issue of foreign policy. It'll tell us a lot about who Barack Obama really is. And it's not going to be a very favorable impression. Now, as we follow this election, Eileen and I and Clayton Leota wrote a book called Dubs Runs for President. You recall that the last book was Dubs Goes to Washington. And Dubs saw all the great historical monuments, and it helped kids really understand the greatness of America. This book is really based on trying to show you and show your children what the steps of the political process are, so that they can follow the steps bit by bit as Dubs goes through them, and they can understand what's going on. So, for example, the convention. All the nation's dogs stayed up very late to watch the canine party choose its final candidate. Dubs appeared in the huge convention hall and spoke at great length of his promises for all. "I pledge," he said, "to give one and all your very own yellow tennis ball. And dogs should be allowed," Dubs then said, "to sleep with their owners right on the bed." So you can explain to your children what the conventions were about in walking them through what Dubs is doing as he runs for president. It's available at dickmorris.com, at Amazon, and in bookstores. Thanks a lot for watching.